Hey, everybody, welcome to the Church Media Guys show, where we learn how to use and leverage and I would say exploit, because I like that word, exploit media and technology so that we can take the gospel to the world. And if you want to do that, then you can start now by clicking that subscribe button and ringing that bell so that you will be notified when we go live and do things. With me, as always, is... Justin, that guy, and the lovely and talented Bill Jones. Was that better, Justin? Did you like that?
Now Bill is lovely and talented. Noob. Now I'm just Justin. He did it. Dave, we need to expand your vocabulary. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Good boy, Tommy, Trey, Carl, Johnny, Jonathan, James, FMG, CAC, World Peace, Gospel, Carl, Vonda, Pete, Jonathan, Steve, and a couple other people that, Adna, Artful, Downey. Man, there's so many people watching live, and I love to see you guys watching live. We go live around 10:30, 10:45 Central every Tuesday, and you guys can help shape the conversation. So we really love seeing you here live. But if you're watching the replay or listening to the podcast, we love you here time shifted as well. So question of the day, I want you to ask yourself this, answer in the chat if you're here live. Are you happy with how your pastor sounds on the live stream? Are you happy with how your pastor sounds? Are you just like, you listen to your pastor on the live stream, streaming from home or streaming even from the church, and just say, man, that sounds great. I love it. It's perfect. What do you think? Are you happy with that? Because we're talking about audio today. Bill, do you have any shout outs or anything you want to do before we get started?
No, I'm good. Go ahead, Justin.
And that's why we have Bill.
Dave, I'm running the show now. Bill did it. He called it. He said, I'm here.
Hey,
He said, go ahead, Justin. It'll be a short show because I know nothing about audio.
Hey, tell everybody about Restream.
Yeah, sure. So Restream, go to getrestream.com. One of the most common questions we get is how to live stream to Facebook and YouTube at the same time. Sometimes we get questions like, how do we go live to Facebook and Periscope at the same time, or Facebook and Twitch, or YouTube and Twitch? If it was really easy, why do we get these questions? It's because it's not easy unless you get Restream. So go to getrestream.com. The way it works, basically, and I'm going to explain this in layman's terms, which is also known as Justin's terms. Instead of you taking your broadcast and sending it to multiple places at once, which you cannot do when you're going live to Facebook or going live to YouTube, instead, you send your broadcast to Restream, or Restreamio as they're often called. Mm-hmm. They will then duplicate your stream and send it out, syndicate it basically to the different platforms. So you're just uploading one stream, not multiple. So you don't have any bandwidth issues. You're just sending that one stream. They do all the legwork to broadcast it, syndicate it, simulcast, whatever you want to call it, to the different platforms. We love it. We use it. I think it's very, very affordable for what it does and how much you're going to get out of it.
Absolutely.
And they also have a beta widget if you're interested in getting your stream on your website. They can do that as well when you just broadcast it to them.
And you
put it on your
you've
website.
Played with that, haven't you?
It is. It's still in beta, but it works. It just works. They give you a code, you paste it in your site, and it, like I said, it just works. And I really like that. And another thing I like is if the website's not working for some reason, it will easily direct people to go watch it on the YouTube or whatever else if something fails. So I really like the organization. They've come to grow on me. Is that the way how that works?
Yes.
So go to getrestream.com. When you do that, you get a $10 credit and you support Church Training Academy and everything we're trying to do for you guys and other churches and to spread the message. So getrestream.com.
And thank you, Restream, for loving us. We appreciate that. All right, so we need to talk about audio. There's a concept that we have, you and I have said it a bunch of times. We're telling people all the time, really, that if you have good sounding audio, then your video discrepancies or your video imperfections can be forgiven, and they will be psychologically by the people that are watching it. It's really interesting how much psychology plays into this viewing experience that we do. I'm going to do something really annoying, guys, just to show you something. First off, can we agree that I have a decent looking image? I may not be the most beautiful man in the world. However, Vaughn does say that we're hot. So I mean a hoot. So that's good. But by and large, I've got a pretty good image here. I've got an expensive camera. I've got good lighting on me, hitting me from here, hitting me from here. I think the coloring is pretty good. So I've got a good image here, okay? And you guys can hear me. Now, my image is looking really good, but
audio was sounding like this. It was all clippy and nasty sounding.
You guys, I said if my audio was all nasty and clippy sounding, you guys wouldn't like it. In fact, that grated on a lot of your nerves. I know it bothered Christopher. I could see the look on his face actually when I did that. So that's the thing. If the audio sounds bad, or let's say it's too echoey because you're in a big empty room and there's just nothing but this echo happening, and they can't really differentiate what you're saying versus how much of it is coming back, you know, it causes a bad viewing experience. It's weird, wouldn't you say?
100%. And again, during this coronavirus times, I still keep going back to the late night TV shows that are done in Colbert's bathroom, in Jimmy Fallon's kitchen, and the other guy's hallway. I can't remember his name. They looked good. Like they obviously got sent a camera, but the sound is terrible. I mean, the bathroom, you're really going to film. I know some people's, like Dawn, one of our fellow CTA insiders, your aunt, does her live streams in her bathroom because that's the best sounding room in the house. But for most houses,
and she's actually maximized that space.
And so like you tune into the Colbert Show or these late night shows and you're like, oh, that sounds terrible. Click. It sounds just awful. But, you go online and you can watch someone and it's like, I can hear you. And even if the frame rate is 7 or it's pixely, it's in 5p instead of 1080, you can still hear it. And that's important because the gospel comes from hearing, not by seeing.
Wow.
So we really want to be able to hear what you're saying more than we need to see how well you say it. Does that make sense? So 100% audio is king.
Yeah, I would say audio is king. Bill, you're like a worship pastor and stuff. Would you say that marginal audio is like not acceptable when you're doing a live event?
Well, it all depends on people's expectations because everyone expects certain things from certain media forms. If you're on Instagram Live, right, or if you're doing Facebook Live and you've got your phone, everyone's going to go, okay, well, it is what it is. But when you're presenting an event, when you're saying that we're going to put a service online, there's a certain level of expectation as to what the sound quality is going to be. And right now, as I browse through the different services that we find online, it's about a middle of the road experience. And yeah, I'm going to listen to it for about 5 seconds, and then I'm going to go switch to somebody else that I know is going to sound really good, and I'm going to not want to change the channel, if you will.
Right.
So 100%.
Cool. So let's get into it. Let's talk about some stuff. Last week we were talking about cameras, and we kind of did a good, better, best. You know, the good being kind of starting with what you have, and just sort of reaching out and grabbing whatever's available to you. So do you want to start there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. This is feedback.
So let's hit it. How do you sound better with what you have, aka for free?
Yes.
What Dave? What do you like to do when you're shooting with what you have? How do you just improve your environment to get better sound?
Well, so the first things first, you're either gonna be doing this with like your laptop or like your iMac or a desktop computer, and that your desktop may even have like a webcam, like we were talking about last week, like the C920 or the C930. Now those do have microphones built into them, and the good thing is that if it's sitting right here in front of you, then that microphone is basically pointed at you. Now it's not a directional mic. It's not a shotgun mic. It's kind of an omnidirectional mic. So Justin, if you were standing on the other side of my computer and you were talking, it would pick you up. I mean, you'd sound a little bit further away because like the little pickup holes and stuff are not on the back; they're on the front. But you could still be heard. Using your phone, if you're using your phone, your microphone is like depending on, if you're doing this kind of thing, you really should be doing it horizontal, not vertical. But if it's like horizontal, then it's going to be either on this side or it's going to be on this side, down towards where the like the little button is, or the bottom of your thing, so that when you're talking on it, your voice goes right to it, right? So if it is close to you, it could be passable, okay? Like right here, my camera is I've got my arm stretched out. I'm about to touch the lens. I don't want to put a fingerprint on it. But, I mean, we're talking, 2.5 feet from my face. So, like the microphone that's on my camera, if that's all I had, or if it had the webcam mic, it would be workable in this space. The reason it would be workable in this space is because I've optimized this space a little bit. I actually have foam on the wall, like acoustical foam right behind here. So as I'm talking, there's a lot of reflection coming from my monitors, which is something you need to think about as well. But that is helping to stop some of the echoing that could be happening in this room. If you're doing this in your office, like say you're a pastor or worship leader or the family pastor or whatever, and you're in your office, most churches have a nice office. So you guys, most of y'all have carpet down, or maybe you'll have hardwood, but you'll have like a couple of area rugs or something. If you're just in a room that is just nothing but hard surfaces everywhere around, and you know it because when you talk, you hear an echo. I mean, you can go into that room and just clap your hands, and if you hear that little echoey sound and stuff, that's going to come through on these microphones, okay? So if you can get to a room where there's carpet, if you can put some carpet in, or, I mean, if you could get go over to Harbor Freight or Home Depot or wherever and get like a blanket, like one of those shipping blankets, guys, those, just that
Quilted.
cheap fabric, that we wrap our furniture in. You could get something like that, and you could lay it down on your desk so that there's a soft surface right underneath you as you're talking. That will actually help because it'll absorb some of these reflections and stuff. It's amazing how much it can help. I mean, if you could go as far as to actually like put it like on the other side of your phone or of your webcam or what have you, so that you're talking to that soft surface, it would help. But if you're in a room with drapes, close the drapes so that there's more soft surfaces. If you're in if your church still has a library, some churches still have libraries, you could go into that library because it's probably not getting a lot of traffic in the middle of the week or, on a Saturday or whenever you're going to be doing this. You can go in there. Those books that are all over there, those things absorb a lot of sound. It's amazing how quiet it is when you walk into, in between bookshelves or something. It's amazing how much sound that absorbs. So just little things like that. Soften the surfaces, and that's going to help. And try not to be too far. If you're trying to do something like this where you're shooting like a full stand-up shot with your webcam, well, number one, you're doing the wrong kind of shot for the kind of video that you're doing, right? So just be close.
Yep. Something that I used to do when I was just getting started streaming, this is before I even met you, Dave, I would be on my laptop in my dining room. I actually took the lamp out of the living room, set it right behind my laptop, and then I threw a bunch of blankets on it.
Okay.
So at least I wasn't getting that echo from behind the laptop. So you might have to get creative if you have a tripod and you're not using it, drape some blankets on it. I mean, basically,
a towel.
I've seen people even make a fort.
Oh, yeah.
Now, you can't see it, but it kind of goes behind the computer and then to the side of the computer. And you've got this like pillow blanket fort combination. And it really deadens the sound, and it sounds really good. It's kind of that when you first move, if you're renters like I am and you've moved your family so many times like I have, when you pack up your boxes and you start talking and you're like, man, there's a lot of echo in this house.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you're like we used to be and you have a terribly messy house and you finally clean up and pick all the laundry up off the floor and all the dishes away or whatever, and you start talking like, man, it actually like there's a huge echo in here now that we've unpacked everything and cleaned everything. It's that same thing. The more stuff you can get in the room, especially deadening soft stuff, the better the sound is going to be. And it can be as simple as grabbing a lamp, grabbing something, and just putting a blanket right behind your laptop or to the side of your computer. Even just moving away from the wall will help so you won't pick up as much of that echo. So that's a couple of things that I've picked up over the years.
You want to know a little? It's not really a secret, but it's something that a lot of people probably don't realize. Is that you remember that show that Mike Rowe did on? I think it was on Discovery, Dirty Jobs.
Mm-hmm.
So that show, and he also does. He's the voice of that fishing show, Deadliest Catch, right? So he does all the voiceovers, the narration. He's the voice of Deadliest Catch. Because he's traveling around, because he's going, from one place to another, like all the time to shoot and do all this sort of stuff. He does his voiceovers in his hotel room. So he literally has this mic, a Shure SM58 or whatever, and like a Zoom recorder, okay, and an audio cable. And he takes his script and goes and gets on the bed in the corner, moves the bed to the corner, and gets on the bed and gets the blanket and the sheets and covers himself up, turns on his flashlight, and sits there and starts delivering his lines, holding the microphone and talking and doing all his voiceovers. You and I never knew that, but that is how much of a difference that can make.
Yep.
It's also important to note that it depends on what you're going for, because when you're thinking of music, you do want some natural reverb.
Absolutely.
So I know we're specifically talking about the pastor preaching, etc. But it is important to note that if you're going for music and you want that whole worship feel, then you need to not deaden as much, because you want some of that natural reverb. So you don't have to spend a bunch of money on effects to add it back in.
Exactly. And so, yeah, there is that. There's that happy medium. And if you are, by the way, if you are in a place where it is like really dead, then you can, like some of the mixers and stuff like that have a little bit of reverb and stuff that you can add back in, a little bit of that ambiance that can kind of brighten back up some of that overly dead sound. You know it when you hear it. When you listen to it through headphones, you'll know the difference. Anyway, so just some things, some practical things you can do.
And that's the important thing is, once you're done streaming, I know some people it's harder than others.
Mm-hmm.
I always listen to everything I put out. I listen to it again. That's how you improve. So after you're done with your stream, go back and listen to it. At least listen to a few minutes of it and say, how did this sound? How did that sound? What? Okay, so there's a little bit too much echo. So next week I'm going to try another blanket, or I'm going to try it in this room. And you're always reiterating. You're doing multiple iterations until you find that sweet spot. There's
Absolutely.
a reason why I'm in a corner. There's a reason why Dave is in a corner, but his computer faces the room, whereas mine faces the corner. We're all experimenting. There's a reason why we use this mic and it's right in our face versus other streamers who have a Yeti mic that's sitting right here just off screen. There's a reason, because we've tested with a lot of stuff, and this is our favorite way to sound. So it's going to be done over multiple iterations, and that's just like you had to preach for years, Pastor. You had to preach for years before you found your language, your emotions, your hand signs, the movement that you do. You had to preach for years to find your style. You're going to have to preach a few weeks to find your style here. And it's not going to be for nothing, because this is going to be something, live streaming from home. It's going to be something you should continue doing.
Absolutely.
Even beyond quarantine time. So this is going to be something that you invest a little bit of time right now. You're going to get a lot of return later on down the road in years to come.
Oh, and by the way, if you don't realize it, you're building your content library. So not only is it your content library for your church and for that ministry, but you, Pastor, as a personal brand, which a lot of churches, a pastor may be here for 5 years, be here for 3 years, be here for 7 years and stuff. So you guys need to be doing this as well. So you can always have things that you can point to show people, number one, how flexible you are, how creative you are, and how, in this case, how nothing stands in your way. You're going to get the gospel and you're going to get that biblical teaching out regardless of what's going on in society, which is a very good thing.
All right, so we want to move on to sounding better when you're live streaming from your phone, because a lot of pastors, they're not using their Macs. A lot of leaders, they're not using their laptops or whatever. They've got their phone, and so they're using their phone. And so we want to make sure that you sound better from your phone. So a lot of the stuff that we just talked about, that also applies to your phone. Turn off your fan, make sure you're in a quiet room. sit in front of some blankets when you're on your phone. Don't put your phone on some books and then walk away.
Right.
You don't have to hold your phone either, because no one wants to sit here like this for an hour. But be close enough. But also, let's go into some very affordable equipment that you can use to immediately. In fact, I need to go order something right. I'm thinking about trying a lapel mic. I might go order that when we're done. So there's only so much stock, so we're gonna race to do it. But Dave, tell us about some equipment that can help us sound better on phones.
First off, I want to give people some a little insider knowledge. Soundboards, right? So if you're in church, you've heard of Mackie. If you're in church media or live audio or anything like that, everybody knows who Mackie is. Mackie is a very well-established brand in live and in production audio. There's a company that started taking Mackie designs and making more affordable versions of it, called Behringer. Okay, so I don't want to pay Mackie prices. Mackie has great stuff, great circuitry, great everything and all that, but I'm me, and I'm not going to shell out premium money if I can get close to it with decent money. Okay, so I buy Behringer. I buy a lot of Behringer stuff. Now, when it comes to like microphones, one of the companies that's been out there for years and makes fantastic quality is a company called Rode, R-O-D-E. Rode mics. They make shotgun mics. They make broadcast mics, like serious broadcast mics. They're good, like Shure is. Okay, they're in that class. Okay, there is a company that takes those designs, and in some cases, some of those innards are kind of everywhere. So, you can buy this chip or this processor or this diaphragm from Bill and Ted's Excellent Microphone Diaphragm Company, and it goes into Rhodes, maybe with a little bit of tweaking. It goes into this company's, it goes into this company's. So there's a company called Movo that basically is the, I like to call them, they're the Vizio to Samsung, where Movo is to Rode like Vizio is to Samsung. You're going to get great quality and really good value, and in a lot of cases not really be able to tell the difference when you're just sitting there watching a movie or listening to the audio. So I tend to get Movo stuff when I can. When there's a Movo equivalent to a Rode, I tend to buy that. So here's the deal. There's a lapel mic that you can get for under $20 that is what's the number on it? It is the Movo PM10. Okay, it is a wired lapel mic. We've got a link that we'll put in the notes and in the chat. It is this little guy. It's small. It's got a little wind muff that you can put on it. Let me cut to the full screen. There you go. A little wind muff. It's easy. You can drop the cord down your shirt, plug it into your phone. It's got a TRRS, which is basically this 3-conductor. If you guys can see that, the 3-conductor. It's got the 3 black lines. So that's what our phones take because they do like stereo audio and then microphone as well. So most of our phones will take that. You may need to get an adapter if you have a like an iOS phone, an iPhone. You may need to get that Lightning to 3 1/4 adapter. The quality is really good for a sub $20 mic. I was really surprised. If you're going to be shooting, like say from your phone, if you're going to be shooting from your phone, this has a short. I mean, it's 4 feet, something like that, maybe 3 feet, 3.5 feet. It's not a very long microphone, which is fine when you're like plugging it into your laptop. It's fine when you're plugging it into your phone and your phone is 2.5 feet from you. It's not that big a deal. But if you're going to like have your phone on a tripod and you're going to be standing, 4 feet back or something, you're going to want to get an extender. And I've got like a 20-foot extender that is actually made by Movo. It's like, hey, if you buy this, we recommend you buy this. And that helps, okay? But it's really cool. One of the great things about lapel mics is that it's close. I mean, it's really close. You put it on your shirt. I shouldn't have worn black today. I'm sorry. You put it on your shirt, and it is like right underneath your chin. So as you're talking, the sound is just coming right over the top of this thing, and it picks it up. And I am really surprised at how good little mics like this sound. I mean, how they pick up the lower register in your voice. Your voice can still sound rich, and if it doesn't, you can tweak it a little bit. Like if you're going into a mixer, you can obviously tweak. If your audio software allows you to adjust the bass a little bit or whatever, that can always help. But lapel mics are great. And you can also get wireless ones, but in this case, I'm trying to keep it really, really affordable. Just a couple of things that you can get just to make the sound better. So I always make sure that I have one of these, like when I'm traveling, when I'm going out to shoot something, any place where it's like, if you're going to use your phone, I may need to use my phone to shoot a YouTube video or shoot an announcement video or do something like that. I want to have this like in my bag with me, even if I'm not taking the big camera, just so that I can use this. So it's a great little mic.
I like it. Yeah, super easy to use. I just remember to run the cable down your shirt,
yes,
or down your blouse, just so we don't see it. It's less distracting, and you're gonna have less of a chance if you talk with your hands. You're not gonna flip it and then rip your microphone off. That's exactly what you don't want. Sometimes, me and Dave have a lot of practice talking with our hands and not hitting our mic, and we want to make sure that if you're running a lapel, get it down your shirt. That way you don't see it and you don't accidentally hit it and bump it and all that stuff. What about a shotgun mic? So first of all, what is a shotgun mic for anyone that doesn't know? And is there any benefit to a shotgun mic that you might not have with a lapel mic?
Absolutely. Shotgun mics are really cool. They are they call them shotgun mics because, like, think about the barrel of a shotgun. What's cool about them is they are largely directional, which means when you're pointing that microphone horizontally at a target, that target, the audio is going to be picked up by it. In fact, I'm going to show you a couple things. Here's a shotgun. See, it looks like this. I'm going to take the wind thing off. It's got this long chamber here on the side that will help cancel out a lot of the sound. It's great. This is the Audio-Technica ATR 6550. It's about a $70 microphone. It's got a little 3 1/4 inch plug at the end. That you can plug it into your camera. You can plug it into your phone. You may need to check your phone. You may need to get an adapter to make this into, like I was talking about that with the little lapel mic, the little 3 conductor one. It's a great sounding mic. It actually has a couple of different patterns. So it's got, let's see if I can get real close here. It's got a telephoto and it's got a shorter distance, like a normal pickup pattern. So when you have that telephoto in, then you can actually be a little bit further away, and the stuff that's happening on the side of you, on either side, is going to get canceled out a little bit better. It's really cool. Basically, with these shotgun mics, I want to give you a little tip. One of the things that's really cool about shotgun mics is they are going to pick up the audio for what is in front of them. Okay, so let's talk about this for a sec. If I'm outside, okay, and I'm using a shotgun mic, this is Shotgun Mic 101. If I'm outside and I'm doing a video in the church parking lot or in front of the church or something, and there's a busy street, over there somewhere, and so it's behind me, and this is sitting on the microphone and it's shooting at me, guess what you're going to be hearing besides my voice? You're going to be hearing what the mic is pointed at, which means those cars across the parking lot that are driving by, wow, 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 and that one guy with the really loud motor, brrr, that guy. So you're going to be hearing all that sort of stuff because this microphone, whatever is in its line of sight or line of hearing, is going to be picking up, right? So if you take your shotgun microphone and move it up, so let's say it was up higher, it's out of the picture, but it's up and it's pointing down at my face or at my chest, then it's going to be picking up, again, what's in front of it, which means my sound coming out of my mouth and off the reverberation of my chest, it's going to be picking that up, and the grass behind me. So it's not going to be picking up stuff. Now, one of the things that I actually came across, I've got a shotgun mic over here on this other desk. When I have my laptop sitting there and I've got a shotgun mic, and mine's mounted on one of these arms, one of these little springy arms, and I had it pointed like this. Okay, I had it pointed like right here, and I was talking, about right here, and my sound was good. My voice was coming in nice and clear. I wasn't popping or making any weird noises or anything. But there was a lot of other noise on there, and I couldn't. What is that? Okay, well, the fan just turned on my computer, on my laptop. Well, guess what? This is pointing down at the table, and so the sound was coming from there. And I have a couple of Drobos in a cabinet right next to it. So when those speed up or the fans come on to help cool them off, that sound was getting picked up. Why? Because this is pointed at whatever's going on down here, and down here is where there's some sound. So literally, I moved the boom arm down, and I pulled it up and pointed up at me, kind of like if I were doing like a radio show or something, and all that extra sound went away. Really cool. Shotgun mics are neat. Most shotgun mics are condenser mics, which means they've got some circuitry down, on the thing, and as the guy moves, then that thing kind of moves in, and sometimes it dips into the shot and comes out and stuff. That's one of those mics. So there's all different kinds. This one, like I said, like $60. Movo and Rode. So Rode makes one. The Movo knockoff for that one is the VXR10. It's a really small mic. It's like a tube of lipstick size. And it's got actually cables to work with both a camera, like a DSLR or a mirrorless camera, or your phone. It's got a Rycote shock mount, so it's not going to, like, if you're moving your camera, it's not going to be going bump, 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 making sound and stuff. This little thing for $40, I think this one, the Movo one, is like 40-ish bucks. The Rode is like $60. And the difference between the two of them, I mean, a slight difference in the low end. That's about it. But it's so cool because this thing can be sitting a few feet away from you, and it sounds, if your room doesn't have tons of fans and all this extraneous noise and stuff, it is ridiculously clear and really good sound. I use this with my phone. I use it with my mirrorless camera when I'm vlogging and stuff like that. It's really cool, and it's not expensive. Here's another little gem that blew me away when I found it. I stumbled across a YouTube video. Someone recommended this. I heard the test. I said, you know what? For $20, that's how much this thing is, I will try it. It is Tacstar SGC 598. And it is a $20 shotgun mic. Mount on the top of your camera or on the rig that's holding your phone, or you could mount it, you could screw it into a little mic stand or whatever to use with your computer. You'll obviously need to get an extension cord if you're going to be running this into your computer. It's a condenser mic. It's powered. It's got a couple of different patterns. It's got a 10 decibel boost. It's got a roll off for the low end, so to take some of the boominess away from your voice. I've used this in some videos. I mean, unless you guys are complaining about the sound of my videos and stuff, you've never known. You've just thought I had good sound. $20. That's all this is. I figured for $20 I could afford to be wrong, and I've been really surprised. Now it's not the most sturdy mic, so don't go banging it around and throwing it around in your gear bag and all that sort of stuff. But you're going to get some fantastic sound for, I mean, a few dollars. I mean, it's cool. A couple of cups of coffee.
Someone actually messaged me on my Facebook asking what audio how you were getting audio on your video.
Oh, okay.
And he saw your LG tone, your shoulder. What do you call that? Bluetooth headphones things that you wrap around your neck.
Yeah, the tones. Yeah.
Yeah. He was the guy asked me, he was like, what headphones are those? Because those sound great. And I was like, no, he's not using those.
Right.
He's using this mic instead.
Not quite.
Yeah, just I mean, not even realizing how good that sounds.
Yeah, I was really surprised. Now, most of my YouTube videos that I shoot back over here. Let me see. Can you guys see that? There you go. Right, my finger's touching the monitor. Boop, right there. The ones that I shoot back there, I'm actually using the Rode VideoMic Pro, and I have it mounted just above me, like just above the camera, out of the camera view, and that's what I'm using. It's got a -10 or a +20 boost, so you can, if you have to be a little bit further away, you can sort of, pick up the gain a little bit on it. I've been using this thing for about 10 years. They're still making it. It's great. They have a whole bunch of different flavors. You could use this as a like with an extension cord. You could use this like mounted on a boom pole for a video shoot if you want. And see, that's one of the things that I try to do is like the stuff that I'm giving you, especially in this kind of list, things that you can use for multiple things. So we're talking about like if you're live streaming from your desk with your phone. Well, if you're using this mic, you can do that. You could also take this out in the field and shoot your announcement videos, or do an interview with somebody, or do shoot a testimonial video. You could do that with your phone, and like a cage that you can hold, put your phone in and mount this on and stuff. So we got multiple uses out of, in this case, a $200 microphone. Then it's worth every bit of that $200, or a $70 microphone, or a $30 microphone, or $40 microphone, or a $20 microphone, or a $400 microphone. This is more along the best line. And it is not it's not a USB or anything like that. It uses an XLR cable, but it is the Rode. What is this? The NTG3B. This is the one that we used at our church. I'm shooting my pastor with it. I do all of our announcement videos with it. It is a high-end, very high-quality, studio quality and field type microphone that you can mount on a camera. You can mount on a stand. You could mount like this. You can, you could, with some adapters and stuff, get all this. You would have to go through a few steps to get this plugging into your phone, because it does take phantom power, which means the thing that you're plugging it into needs to be able to supply some voltage to it so that the condenser circuitry will work. But it is a fantastic microphone. But again, it's also in the $300 to $400 range. But all of these I've used in production off and on, and so far nobody's complained about my audio, so I doubt they'll complain about yours.
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what I mentioned or what we talked about last week with cameras. Remember that I know this is a hard time. I know that giving is down. However, we're not paying utilities. We're not paying for stuff like that at the church. There's less overhead to pay for without having a building. Remember that being a good steward does not mean be cheap.
Right.
Being a good steward means making sure that you're investing your money wisely. So, otherwise we would always buy the cheapest laptop, the cheapest coffee, we'd basically be eating ramen 3 meals a day if we really thought being a good steward means being cheap. It means getting the most value. So you buy affordable nutritional foods, you buy good coffee that, perks you up correctly. You treat yourself for your mental stability, you want to get value for your dollar. And I love the Rode Video Mic Pro. That's my favorite shotgun mic. And you're going to get a tremendous amount of value out of it because you can use it right now while you're live streaming. When you go back to the church, you can use it to film your announcements. You can use it when you take your camera to youth camp and you just plug it into the camera, give it to your youth pastor or intern or even volunteer and say, it's all set up, it's plugged into the camera, now go and do awesome things. I mean, you're going to get so much out of that, a lot more than you might get out of a little Mevo. That's really only good for recording on your phone, in my opinion. So don't be turned off by the expensive price tag. And remind your pastor that this is going to serve multiple purposes. So instead of buying the cheap shoes that you have to replace, every few months, maybe every 6 months or every year, go ahead and invest in a nice pair of shoes, nice pair of boots that'll last you 4 to 5 years. Get this mic that's going to last you in multiple venues for multiple purposes, and is also going to last for years to come. We're still using that Rode mic 5 years later at our church.
And this one, I used this on GeekBeat. And we started shooting that back in 2010. And I could swear we actually used it on Geek Brief, which was before that, back in 2008, 2009. This has been around for a long time. And I just keep putting, 9-volt batteries in it once or twice a year. And it's just going. Yep.
It just keeps on ticking. Bill, you got any thoughts on phone audio?
Not on necessarily on phone audio. I can say that my whole setup that I'm using right now to do this show is less than $150. And that includes the mic, the cable, stand, the interface, and I do use a Behringer Euphoria UM2 USB interface. And so, we want to spend money on quality, but you got to start where you're at too. So we get both sides of that. So just know that you can still get great sound for a couple $100.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is honestly wouldn't be able to do that 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And as someone in last week's stream mentioned, and I'll mention again, as we move on to studio recording audio, which is a fancy word for saying, buying a mic like we have. If you were to go out and buy my setup, I think you'd be looking at the same $150. However, I paid nothing because I asked for studio equipment for Christmas.
There you go.
Mother's
Father's Day or anniversary.
Mother's Day was last week.
Yeah.
Father's Day is next month. Anniversaries happen. Yes, you can ask for flowers. You can ask for a tie or a new pair of shoes. I know I always ask for shoes for Father's Day, but my studio equipment, I asked for Christmas. I think I got the mic from my mom, the lights from my mom, the USB mixer from my dad. I just sent him an Amazon link. So, if you really want this stuff, but you can't afford it, maybe double dip and say, well, instead of buying me that, maybe we can get this. That's another way around it. Obviously, if you don't have anyone
Stay
that
out
gets
of
you stuff
Starbucks
like that,
for a little bit.
Yeah. So that's just another option. Just throwing that out there. I paid nothing, even though you would pay something. So,
right.
Maybe you can, get a little bit extra bang for your buck there.
I will also say it's important to always keep, if you want to do great stuff on your phones, you got to make sure your software is always up to date. You got to make sure that you upgrade your devices. If you're going to continue to use your phone as your primary shooting tool, then take advantage of the camera upgrades that come out with the new versions of whatever phone you use. Since, for instance, I have the iPhone 11 and they made a major upgrade with this last version. So that's also important. Your hardware outside of your mics is important. Like, yes, this was $150, but I just dropped $500 on extra RAM for my iMac. So it's important to continue to upgrade your hardware along with your mics, etc.
Yeah, and incremental is kind of the key. If you are cash strapped, then pick something. Make up your list, and then pick something, and then every pay period, like I'm gonna grab $40, and I'm gonna go ahead and get this little mic because I know I'll be able to use this mic a whole bunch. In a whole bunch of different scenarios. So yeah, this is worth $40. Okay, so honey, date night is going to be us with Netflix. It's not going to be us getting sushi. Okay. And I got this mic, and the next month I'm going to do the next thing.
But first you have to add, is that okay, honey?
Yes.
But
and if she says no, then you say, why are you harshing my ministry?
Hitting her with that conviction. No, we say that in jest, but
Absolutely.
really, if you're we're just joking here. Don't sacrifice your family's happiness for your ministry. We all know that. But it can be something you can work together for. Maybe you know what? There's nothing wrong with a 30-year-old man walking around or 40-year-old man walking around saying, hey, can I mow your lawn for $10? Mow 4 lawns. You got a shotgun mic. There's nothing wrong with that. We appreciate the hustle. It's much more accepted
Absolutely.
Nowadays.
Ask Miss Tilly. Maybe she's willing to make a $100 investment.
That stuff. Yeah, 100%. Let's move on to studio setup or desktop setup. If you plan on, and we encourage you to plan on continuing streaming from home, there's some really easy, simple, and I would say affordable ways to get started with an actual sound setup like this. And this is great if you want to either turn your live streams into a podcast, archive them again. I think anyone will listen to your streams and your podcast if you have the phone equipment that we talked about, but to take it to that next level that really sounds good, that like you can play it in your car and you would think we were on the Joe Rogan show because it sounds so good, or another popular podcast. You want to go ahead and invest in a setup like this. And again, you're looking at anywhere from $150 to $200, and if you increment it, you're looking at maybe $30 or $40 a month. So, and you'll have a full studio setup like we do in a matter of 3 to 4 months. So, this is I encourage you, if you really want to take it to the next level, show your people that you're serious, and they'll take you serious as well. Invest in the equipment that we're about to talk about here.
So, working as from the setting up a little micro studio mentality here. There's a couple of different ways you can go with microphones. Okay, there are USB microphones. which are basically the guts of any good microphone or hyper cheap microphone. But instead of running to a regular microphone cable, they're running to a USB cord. So they got a little USB, a lot of them have like a USB mini, not the micro, not the super thin one, but like USB mini, that trapezoid looking one, looks like a ziggurat. How'd you like that word? Do you think we could work ziggurat into the live stream?
I don't know, but I just want to start flowing with that ziggurat.
That's right.
That just sounds really good.
But they have a USB connector, and you just plug it into a USB 2 or 3 port on the side of your computer and go to town. What's really cool about them is they're really clean, and by clean I mean the USB connection is just a digital connection. Okay, so I mean you're passing ones and zeros, whereas if you look on the side of your computer, or if you have a tower or iMac or laptop or whatever, and you may have like the little headphones jack that doubles as like a headphones or a microphone jack. That is an analog connection, which means you're passing vibrations, electrical signals, not ones and zeros, but electrical frequencies over that. So you got two pieces of metal that are coming together and then transferring electricity between the two. And that is okay, but there's other things that could be happening that could cause some sound. You may have some whine or some hiss or some weird, little interference, because right on the other side of that port is some open circuitry that is sitting right next to chips and fans and other electrical impulses that are happening on your motherboard. So it's not as clean. So I always tell people, you want to plug your headphones into that while you're listening and doing something like that, that's fine. If you're thinking about plugging a microphone in there, it needs to be an emergency. I tell folks, get a cheap USB, if nothing else, get a cheap little USB audio adapter that plugs into it and then has like some RCA inputs or a microphone input into it or something, okay? Or you can go with USB. Now, one of my favorite little ones, this is the Samson Meteor mic, and I've had this thing for about 10 years. It is a fantastic, they're still selling it, still making it. It's a fantastic little condenser microphone, and it's pretty. It has, see if I fold this up, it has a nice big screw hole on the bottom of it so I can plug it in or screw it onto a microphone stand. It's USB. It's got a level control on it so I can adjust how hot the sound is coming in, okay? And does this, I'm trying to remember, does this one, yes, it does. It has a microphone jack on the back so that I can listen to my sound and make sure that I'm okay, okay? So I could either do it through the headphone jack on the computer, or I can do it through here. This basically is like a little sound card, okay? Like a little sound blaster card or whatever, except it's a microphone. And it's really good quality. This goes in my backpack, and I carry this as part of my mobile traveling kit. So anywhere I'm taking my laptop, this thing is in there with a cable and a set of earbuds so that I can stop and drive. And I've done this. I've been at my grandmother's house, and Justin and I have to do a live show, and Justin hosts the show, and I join and I use this, and the audio's not that bad, considering it's going over grandma's internet stream. The quality is actually really good. I'm pleasantly surprised. Another one is the company called Blue. They make the Yeti. They make the Yeti Nano. They make bottle mics. They make USB mics. They make really fantastic studio mics. I mean, they're just a really good mic company. Another one I've had for years is this Blue Yeti. It is a really cool looking piece of kit. This is several iterations old, but the guts are basically the same. This one actually is a USB or analog mic. So I know it looks weird, but they have a multi-pin digital connector down here. This has an adapter. You plug the adapter into it, and then you can plug in like an XLR cable, okay? Or you could just use, where does it go? Over here, USB. So it's also got a headphone jack so that you can monitor your sound. You can mute it. You can adjust the input levels on it. You can adjust the gain back here, and you can adjust the patterns. So you can go from a omnidirectional where it's picking up stuff on both sides. So like if I want to do an interview, I could set this in between me and the other person across the table, and it's going to pick up both of us. I can set it up for cardioid, supercardioid, dual cardioid, hypercardioid, just any flavor of cardioid you can think of is on here. So it's really flexible. And the way the diaphragm is on this thing, it naturally has a warm tone to it. So if you have a, if you like that radio sound, that radio announcer voice, that kind of happens a little bit. It's a little more on the low end than it is on the bright end. So it's just a good mic. And if you get the USB version, it's $150. If you are getting the dual version that you can use either way, it's a little bit more. They have several different flavors of this. They've got different colors. They've got the the Yeti Nano, which is a smaller version. It's about half the size of this, and it has a couple of different pickup patterns. It's not all like 4 or 5 different pickup patterns, but it's a really good sounding mic, and it starts at like $99. So those are really good condenser microphones. There's also the Audio-Technica AT2020, which is a I don't have a picture, and I don't have one, but I've used it before. It's a USB condenser microphone. You can put it on a little stand. You can mount it on a boom arm, however you want. It's a really good quality and not expensive. It's $70, $80. Really,
$80, yeah.
$80.
And I just want to say,
Yes.
the Audio-Technica you're talking about now, but especially the Blue Yeti and the Samsung Meteor mic. If you are subscribed to 10 podcasts on your phone, one of them is going to be run off of those mics.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Basically, maybe even more. The church communications podcast runs off of that mic. A lot of business podcasts run off of that mic when the entrepreneur or whoever business owner is like traveling on the road 5 days a week. They are using that mic as they record their podcast. I believe Tim Ferriss used that podcast when he used that microphone when he was starting out. So these are like legit microphones that they're not a cheap option. Because they're a cheap option, they're a good affordable option.
Absolutely.
That are used by multiple podcasts that you listen to. So
Yeah.
these are really good microphones to start out with.
Absolutely. The other way you can go is with a dynamic microphone. Dynamic microphone, basically, well, this is a dynamic microphone. It does not require the phantom power. If I am up close to it, it sounds really good. If I start to move away from it, it will exponentially get quieter. Okay. So when they say you have to eat the mic or you have to get in your mic in order to be heard, the Shure SM58s that all of us have on mic stands at our church, that 40, nearly 50-year-old, I think it is 50-year-old handheld microphone that's been around that long. There's a reason it's been around that long because of the quality and the durability. It's a $100 microphone. It has tremendous sound. Entire albums have been recorded on that microphone. Not some ridiculously
Absolutely.
high quality, high end, $2,000 microphone. A $100 microphone that you would have on the stage at your church. This is a flavor of that. Okay, this one is the PG58. It is basically the guts of an SM58. It is. You're hearing me. Okay, it's an inexpensive mic. It's going into a mixer. As far as mixers go, like analog mixers, again, we were talking about Mackie and Behringer. I got Behringers all over my house. This is same one that Justin has, actually. This is the Xenix Q502 USB. It's just a handful of channels. It's got one mic input on it. It's got a compressor built into it, so I can actually tweak the audio signal and like clean it up a little bit. It's like $100. It's USB, so you could actually use this like not only for just like sound, and there's different flavors of this. So with like 2 XLR inputs, 4 of them, 8 of them, and they just keep on going. This whole Xenix line is really good. You can mix if you wanted to do, say, a little bit of praise and worship and do some Bible study, Pastor. You could. So you can plug your guitar. Your guitar's got pickups on it. Plug it in there, or plug from your pedal board into there, and now you can mix your voice and your music together as you're doing your live stream. It's really cool, really flexible.
I am going to admit a sin here on the live stream.
Uh-oh.
I have a Fender American Deluxe Telecaster. Beautiful red electric guitar. Wow. I have no amp.
Whoa.
I have no amp for
Bill
it.
shaking his head.
I used to have a great little tube amp. I can't remember the model, but I left it with my church because they needed it more than I did. But when I want to play now, guess what I do? I plug it into this little mixer that I have here for this microphone. I plug it into there, and then I run basically GarageBand as my amp.
Oh, yeah.
And so just when I want to play and just fiddle, and I've got Bose speakers, so they sound really good. I use that to play. So absolutely, if you've got a keyboard, if you've got a guitar, even if you bring a mic from the church and you just mic your guitar through the sound hole, or if you have a piezo pickup will probably work too. These things have 1/4-inch inputs, and you've got EQ, you've got compression. This is an amazing little 4-channel mixer here that you can do more than just sound. So again, value for your buck. Your pastor can use it now, send it over to your worship pastor, or just get one for your worship pastor too. And you can do some really good live stream music where you can monitor yourself in headphones, and you can bring in a mix track if you want to, and you could have a full orchestra going in the background, or a full band click track going on for the live stream to hear as well. And you're not going to get any delay because you're playing by yourself and you're monitoring yourself. So it's a really great option for your worship pastor too, to do online worship.
You can also go, if you don't want to go with like a traditional mixer, you want to go maybe a little simpler. You can go with like one of these audio breakout boxes. So PreSonus makes them. Is it Foresight? I think makes them. We've got some links like in our gear guide and stuff that we're putting together to these things. Here's one right now. This is a PreSonus audio box USB right here, and it's got 2 XLR inputs, and then I can mix them here. And then I can mix the levels for them here. Then I've got the main mixer, and then I've got headphones, and I've got the primary outs and stuff. So like this is actually the interface for my streaming computer, which is this one right up there that you guys see. That's the one that is feeding that from a separate mixer here. So I've got my mixer here for this computer that I use and do production on all day. And then I've got my live streaming computer sitting right over there, and that is the interface for that. Again, it's great. It's they go from $100 to a couple of $100, but the quality is really, really good. And the whole idea again is to be able to get a clean signal. When you use like I said, it's like the little jack on the side of your computer and stuff, you could introduce some noise. So getting a USB interface allows you to hook in all kinds of analog or keyboards or whatever, all kinds of different things in there, and mix it and then tweak it. I use analog mics and stuff with a mixer more than I use my USB mixers. My USB microphones. I use those generally for when I'm traveling or I need to be portable. I need to go on location and shoot something. So if I'm going to go down to Bill's house and he and I are going to do a podcast episode, I'll take my laptop and I'll take a couple of USB mics and I'll plug those in, and he and I'll do it at his kitchen table. If I'm going to be recording screencasts and doing things like that for you guys, I'm going to be doing that here with this SM58 and a mixer. And the reason that I do that is it allows, especially for live, it allows me to go ahead and sweeten my voice a little bit and make some adjustments, go ahead and bring up the high end a little bit, because they all have, the little mixers, they all have like 2 or 3 channels of EQ. So, I want to pull the bass up a little bit, brighten it up a little bit, adjust, trim it, get it set just right, and I have fine control. I can reach over here and make adjustments, as I need. Whereas like with the USB mic, I can make all those adjustments, but I got to do it in whatever I'm recording in. Or if I'm doing a live stream, Like if I'm doing it in OBS, then I got to go in and add a filter for that channel, and then I got to go in and make the tweaks and listen to it and make the tweaks. And then if I need to make an adjustment, like while we're doing it, like right now, if I need to make an adjustment, you guys don't even see my hand. I can reach my hand over here and I can grab onto my mixer and tweak something. I don't have to stop looking and click and go find this and click and open that and hope it doesn't crash, while I'm making this thing. Crap, it crashed. Okay, I got to start the whole thing over again, because software crashes right when you don't want it to. So, I tend to go the other way, and I encourage people to go the other way because I'm tactile and I like to be able to get my hands on it and move on the fly.
100%. I think we briefly mentioned it, and Chris said, that's a good point to be made. Look at what you already have at your church before you buy gear.
Oh, yeah.
So,
big time. You got stuff sitting in closets.
Yeah. Immediately, you could probably just buy the USB mixer and run up to your church and get an SM58,
yep.
Get a mic stand. You don't have to have, ours clips to or at least mine clips to my desk. You just grab a boom stand and just have it sitting over to the side, come in right here. So you got your mic, you grab an XLR cable, you plug it into the mixer. So you could really just get started with just the USB mixer and then, again, build up your own equipment as time goes on. John had a question. Dave, I don't know if you've heard of this. I've never heard of this.
That's right.
They bought a mic on Amazon. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right. Fifine, Fifine K670. To me, it looks like drop shipped Chinese microphone. What do you think?
It is. Okay. Here's the deal. Some of these things, kind of like I told you I bought this. I don't know who makes it. USB adapter. This flavor of it is WeStar. Okay. Another flavor could be Fifine, or it could be, Me Video or whatever. Okay. A lot of these things are, quote unquote, the dropship Chinese stuff. Okay. So what happens is there's a company out there that's making these microphones or making these USB video adapters or making keyboards or mice or whatever it is, whatever these peripherals are. There's a company out there that's making these things, and they basically make them white label. So you and I, Justin, could start
meaning white label, meaning it is not branded.
No.
They just make the hardware.
Exactly.
They have no company. They just make hardware.
Right. You could go to Alibaba and find these things for maybe they're $20 a piece, in lots of 100, and I could order them and have them brought here to my house and sell them on eBay or wherever, and have my label put on them. Okay, or I could set up a store that just does drop shipping. So I collect the order and send it to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer turns around and sends it to your house. Okay, that is, and there's nothing wrong with that because you can. They're high-end companies that make the quality of Rode, the quality of all these others, and then you're going to pay more for them and stuff, but you could do the same thing. Okay, when I see things like this, one of the things that I like to do is for $75, I'm willing to try this. I can return it if it's a piece of junk because I bought it through Amazon. So if this doesn't work out, I'll return it to Amazon. No harm, no foul, and I'll have a $75 credit, or they'll just refund my card. With the microphones, the microphone may be great. It may sound, surprising. Like I said, $20 Tacstar. Tacstar? Wait, I don't see Tacstar over at Best Buy or Fry's or anything. So these guys are getting this thing, drop shipped from wherever. And somebody else has a different name on it. But it's $20. I could be completely wrong. Even if I couldn't return it, or if it only worked for this one shoot, it's worth it because I had that mic. I was able to get the audio. It broke on the way home. Who cares? $20. It's a couple. It's McDonald's for $3. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. One of the things that I have learned about some of these microphones like those is that they may sound really good. They're not durable. So one drop, it's not going to be good. Okay, perfect example of something like that. Out on one of my sets out in the garage, I got a couple of. They were like $30 for the pair, and there were these LED PAR lights, like PAR 16 or something like that. These little lights, little remote control, and I could set them back and click, and here's a purple one, and here's a blue one. And they're shining up on this white wall. And you can hear, if you're over there close to them, you hear the little fan running on, keeping them cool, you know. So they did their job. They're casting that color up on the wall. Really inexpensive. One of them, I bumped into the table. I was putting a different TV out there for the backdrop, and it slid off. That light was on. It slid off, and it hit the floor. It only fell like 3 feet, okay, like that. Ain't working anymore. It's not durable. If you treat it well, it would keep on working, because the other one's just been sitting there clamped onto a little pole, and it's been on. It has literally been on for 6 months, you know, without any issues. But one shake, one drop, and it didn't. So this little microphone could be $60, and if you keep it on your desk and it never falls off your desk and you treat it well, it could serve you for 5 years without any problem and sound just wonderful. You learn how to tweak it, you learn how to use it, talk to it, you know, get the right sound out like that. You got a $60 mic, and it's going to serve you just fine. Falls off the desk, and you lose it. So just keep that in mind.
That might be something. That might be a quick training video I do in the group chat. You know, how to spot. There's some drop shipping companies that do great. There's some that do terrible. I just ordered a phone mount for our bed. So when we go to bed and we're watching our phones, because we're under 40, we watch our phones in bed instead of TV. I don't have to sit here and hold it or balance it on my nightstand. It's a little clamp, kind of like this mic stand, but it attaches our phone to it, or our Switch, Nintendo Switch, to it. It came in. It's obviously a non-branded Chinese drop-shipped device. But man, that thing is sturdy. And I'm very glad I spent, you know, $15, $16, because I could have also spent $30 on a Samsung branded one or a different branded one. So that worked out. However, I've ordered, because Apple refuses to make 6-foot charging cables, lightning cables. My wife has ordered every 6-foot lightning cable on Amazon, and they all stink.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree.
And I'm being very censored on that.
I agree.
They're all terrible. She's ordering a new one every 2 to 3 months. You just got to play around with it. You got to be willing to take the risk. Me and Dave, we are willing to take a lot of risks for you. And so any equipment that we recommend, we recommend for a reason, because we've tried it out. So, John, if you let us know, email us hello@churchtrainingacademy.com, or post it in the Church Media Hacks group after you do some testing. I know me, you know, especially when I get stuff like this mic stand or this USB mixer, I will stress test it, because I'd rather break it on day 1 than break it on day 91 and I can't return it. So, you know, give it some stress testing and let us know what you find out about that. It could be a hidden gem.
And let me tell you, I do get stuff like that. I see these things and I try them. Here is a Natty. This is a brand of equipment that you may find at Fry's or you know, in the DJ section at Best Buy or something. Okay. It is not known for like ridiculously high quality stuff, but this is a Natty SCM 800 large diaphragm microphone. It is $70. Okay. It's got great sound. You mount this thing. I've got, I actually had it in my closet right back over here. I had a little recording studio set up in there. I foamed out the walls inside there, moved the clothes down to the other end, and, you know, hung this thing and did some recording in there, and it was fine. It's great. I don't want to drop this thing because I have a feeling it won't work. I bought 2. We were talking about Rode. Rode makes a bunch of really good microphones. They make these pencil microphones that you can use for like your choir. You know, the ones that you'll see kind of hanging down on a long cord and then kind of angled at your choir, or maybe sitting on the floor, pointed at a you know, at a kick drum, or pointed at a or mounted underneath a drum or something like that. These little pencil mics, they're great. I got 2 of them. I can't even remember what the brand was, but I got 2 of them for like $80. The equivalent in Rode was 2 of them for like $400. And I said, these I can change the capsule on. I can make them omnidirectional, you know, I can make them cardioid, super cardioid for $80. And this little foam case that I carry them in, I'm going to try them. And if I'm wrong, and even if I'm outside my window, I've only lost $80. I haven't lost $350 or $400, right? So of trying them, yeah, they're good. I'm really surprised. I don't want to drop one, but I've got it set up over here. Actually, I did drop one. It still works. But I've got it set up over here as for recording when I'm doing things on a Windows PC, which I'm actually doing some of the training that I'm building for you guys, for the insiders, using my Windows box over there. So that's what I'm getting the audio from. And remember I was talking earlier about the shotgun mic and how I was getting sound, I was hearing the fans and stuff like that happening. It was with that mic. And then I moved that mic down where it's pointed up like that, nice and clean.
Yeah, and I just wanted to correct myself before people start commenting. I said that Apple doesn't make 6-foot cables. I meant they don't make 10-foot cables. Yep. They make the regular cables you get are 6 feet. Bill, you got any final thoughts here?
I posted some stuff in the chat. Just, when you're starting out, keep it simple. Don't go and buy a $500 mixer if you don't know how to use it.
Yes.
So start with the basics. Use YouTube as a friend. Use church media guys as a friend to find out what you really need for your current scenario. That's why we're here. We love to talk about this stuff, so don't hesitate to reach.
He said reach out. He's out in the country. Sorry about that.
And I'm back.
good.
There he is.
Yeah, awesome. I don't have anything. I think we said more than we thought we were going to say. And if you have any questions, by all means, just continue leaving them in the chat. We try to check the chat, our YouTube comments every day. So we usually get back with you. And unless it's something like, oh, awesome, great. If you got a question, we'll try to direct you in the right way within 24 to 48 hours.
And remember to go to getrestream.com. Thank you again to Restream for your help with this episode. Go to getrestream.com, and you guys can get a $10 credit when you sign up. Restream lets you take that one stream that you're sending and syndicate it to a whole bunch of different platforms, and it's really easy, and you guys see the quality. It works. So go and do that. Now, above everything else, take all this information that we've been giving you, all these little tidbits we've been throwing out, the links that are in the description, take all of that sort of stuff and use it, put it to work, and go change lives.